Hello everyone, welcome back to the NASCAR The Game 2013 Robby Gordon Season Mode. As you can tell, I've been gone for yet another week, and that is simply because I wanted to wait a little bit more time to allow the COVID symptoms to subside just a little bit more. I'm feeling quite a bit better, and I figured I'd allow for that before we jump into the most important race of the season, the Daytona 500. Coming off of a dual win, we are starting inside of row 2 for the Daytona 500, rolling off in third spot. Dale Jr., Tony Stewart is the front row for the 500. As you can tell, the dual race was very successful, but now we begin the 40-lapper at Daytona, the Daytona 500. Believe it or not, one of the better tracks in NASCAR The Game 2013 because there's less glitches somehow at Daytona. Once we start to get into, like Phoenix will be terrible because of how the AIs are set up, so will Bristol. So of the first 5 races, there's 2 races which are going to be stupid. And Las Vegas has got some pretty interesting problems I'll detail in that video. But let's get on to Daytona for the 500.
Not long before the race starts, champ. If you want to get a few more practice laps in or test the car setup, now would be a good time.
What I want to know is, with Robby Gordon's race team reconstruction, I want to know how he got Ray Evernham to be his crew chief. I'd imagine that'd be a pretty big bill. I want to see how Robby did it. I need to point out that the cough drop that's in my mouth right now tastes exactly like melted plastic. But setup-wise, I'm increasing tire pressure once again to reduce rolling resistance for the start of the 500. Now you want the exact opposite thing at a track where it requires handling. Say we go to Kansas or, you know what, more importantly, Martinsville. You definitely want to drop those tire pressures to increase rolling resistance, get more grip, a wider contact patch. But some of these, numbers obviously very unrealistic, starting, cold pressure at 65 PSI. But the principle is there of how air pressure does affect a race car. You up the air pressures for a super speedway so the car rolls freer, essentially. It builds more straightaway speed, but it's harder to handle. And so I don't need practice. That's just literally the definition of go left when it comes to practicing at Daytona, because we're not going to do any drafting practice or anything. So let's get right on to the Daytona 500 in the year 2013.
Give it everything you've got out there, and you could end the day in victory lane. Good luck, buddy.
Of all professional sports, only NASCAR begins with its biggest event. Welcome to Fox Sports coverage of the Daytona 500. I'm Mike Joy with Hall of Famer Darrell Walter.
Mike, the Daytona 500, the great American race. It's the Super Bowl. It's the World Series. It's the Kentucky Derby, all rolled into one.
The 500 has always been the biggest race of any season.
It has, Mike, and there's the guys that are favorites, but I love Dale Jr. in this race. This track means a lot to the Earnhardt family, and I love to see Dale Jr. win this thing.
All right, 200 laps. Let's go.
Listen to DW pick the pole sitter to win the 500. Real creative. Here we go.
Let's go racing, boys and girls. All right now, it's gonna be a tough race today. You better keep it clean.
That I like about this game. It's the little things. This thing's still got a great restart gear. Screw it. We're going for the lead. Lap 1, turn 1 of the Daytona 500. Stewart gets forced out wide. No pusher for Dale Jr. Kevin Harvick drops down. We're going to the point. Harvick wants to push. Let's see which line starts moving. Right now it's the middle. Now that inside line with Logano is starting to roll as well. Outside kind of fell apart because of the way I screwed with it. Harvick just chopped Joey off. Gave him no room whatsoever to get in the line right there. That checked up the whole bottom line. Truex, who I battled in duel 1. By the way, that's lap number 1 led. Truex wanting to push me just like how duel 1 ended. More things change, the more they stay the same. Whoa. I thought for a second there he's going to try and hook me instead of actually push me. This thing's once again loose. I know exactly why that is. That's because of the way the air pressure is set up on this car. The right side differential to the left. Look at these lanes. Inside line now starting to roll. We're pretty much checking up the entire field right now. I'm hoping for the pack to get a little bit smaller sometime soon. Look at this weeble wobbling out of Carl Edwards.
Go, buddy. Go.
David Gilliland, fastest car on the track.
Car right behind you.
Danica on the inside, 3 wide, going for second. With the help of Mark Martin, that got really risky right there.
Inside.
I don't know what kept us from wrecking. Danica got put in the middle. I'm still somehow the leader. All right, I'll take it.
Got one behind you.
Felt like at least 50 cars there should have died. Mark Martin. I'm either crowding him up to the wall or he's going to try and go beyond the fence to make the move.
We can do this all day.
I don't know if we can do this all day. It's pretty easy to sit up on the pit box, but this right here I don't think I can do all day. At some point I'll screw it up.
Go behind you.
Oh, jeez. That's some weeble wobbling. I am not watching at all where I'm going. I'm just looking at the mini-map thing for which lane to block. I'm not actually looking forward.
Still right behind you.
Who am I racing with? Everyone. The entire field, for the most part, in the lead draft. For some ungodly reason. Kenseth still can't pick a line. It's incredible. We got Marcos Ambrose
Behind you.
coming up to second. After everything we've been through from Duel 1, Marcos either trying to pass me or trying to help me. I really can't tell.
Still with you.
At this point, I think he's still trying to do the weeble wobble. There it is.
On your bumper.
I swear these cars are yiggling enough to where you think you're watching an ARCA race because they're dancing center of the corner. If you look back through the pack, no one can commit to one line and build the momentum forward.
Car tucked in behind you.
I like how Ambrose is running me all the way up and down the racetrack, though.
Way back.
And into the wall. Here comes Newman
Got a car behind.
on the inside, Mears through the middle. This pack has not gotten any smaller for the most part. I think like 5 or 6 cars have lost the draft, but couldn't be much more than that. Take a look at the mini-map. It only shows about 3.
Still right behind you.
So I'd have to guess probably about 4 or so, because it looks like they're running a bit of a tight grouping. We gotta get this thing single filed out so we can lose some cars.
Still with you.
Ryan Newman doing a good job right now setting second, but how about Regan Smith? If I can't win, we need a goof winner at the very least. I'll take a BK Racing or a Phoenix Racing win. There's David Rudeman
Still right behind you.
with a massive run out of the suck force.
Behind you. 3 back.
You know, I wish in a way I could just be Dale Jr. and just set out front while no one tries to pass me. Instead, I get the exact opposite treatment. Look at this. Up, down, left, right, BA start. It's bad enough that my car is already dancing all over the place in the center of the corners because of the way I set it up, but the angles they're taking down these straightaways make them no longer straight. In fact, they're worse S's than what you'd find at Riverside.
Car tucked in behind you.
Did you see the whole car step out sideways on entry there? Oh. It was tracking towards the wall. There was some magnetism going on there. Jeff Burton going absolutely everywhere trying to win. I guess this would be his final Daytona 500 attempt. Which is true. He only ran, like, what was it, Vegas and Bristol and Loudon in 2014. So Mears with a massive run out of nowhere.
He's still on you.
They're getting bigger runs than they did with the like 10-inch spoiler that they ran last year at the super speedways. This is just nuts.
Car right
The
behind
funny thing is, though, is that once the pack starts to settle down, they start losing the draft really easily, kind of like next-gen cars. Because you saw in the dual race, and that was only about 20-some cars, but they were able to lose the draft and never gain it back. So if we can shake some of these cars from this lead pack, we won't ever see them again. Unless I do something stupid and start a wreck, which is looking pretty likely. I think that's Trevor Bain and Danica running in line right there. Okay, Robby Gordon, Trevor Bain, Danica Patrick, Bobby Labonte lead the 2013 Daytona 500.
Keep digging, buddy. Not over yet.
Good times.
Car approaching your rear.
I don't know what just happened right there, but Labonte went like 5 different directions in the span of about 4 feet. And Almirola's now gotten his way up to second. He's working with Dennis, as no one can pick a lane yet. Dennis, that was a legitimate side draft I just saw right there out of Dennis. Didn't know the AIs had the capacity for that.
Watch your mirror, he's coming up fast.
Whoa, Danica.
On your bumper.
That was a wild, almost professional move out of Danica we just saw right there.
Still with you. Got one behind you.
More like a Joey Logano attempt at a pass.
30 to go. 3-0.
Still weeble wobbling though. I kind of wonder in some ways what would happen if I got back in this pack. Just how stupid it would get.
Car approaching your rear.
Danica once again with a massive run. We're going to do the weeble wobble down the back straightaway. Or is it the snake? What's the exact terminology for whatever this maneuver is I keep having to block?
Car one back.
Gordon, now to second. A more familiar face up towards the front. Still traumatized over the end of the final race of the year in 2001.
Okay, let's use that clean air.
Blocking him literally everywhere.
Car tucked in behind you.
He outdid me. He outdid me. He faked me.
Fight back. We'll get him next time, buddy.
We got a big one. We're doing it. I got it going straight. I'm going straight. I've done it. He did a good job of getting to the inside there. I can say that. The weeble wobbles headed up to where I had to either let him go or chop him. And considering the history of the two Gordons, the only option was chop him. Pretty easy option at this point. We're coming to pit road. I wonder if I can do the Eric Jones strategy. I'm thinking about not changing left side tires. All right, here we go on the pit road.
How about a splash?
Right,
You said it
right sides only.
Okay, let's make this work.
Fuel fill. Yes to repair damage. I want the option of, you know what? 4 tires. It's going to take that long to fill the thing. Give me 4 tires because I want the gas.
Get ready. Give me a nice smooth
Give me
stop.
gas now so I can take a short pit stop later. Because I don't want to have to take the short stop right now and then have to sacrifice all that late in the run when it's actually going to count and go for a 20-some second pit stop with 5 to go or something. Out of the pits, certainly towards the back because of how I screwed myself with Jeff Gordon. Where's Gordon, though? Gordon's 43rd. I'm 42nd. It's a penalty for the both of us. I'll accept that.
Okay, it's time to push that pace now, buddy.
So now,
Stay focused. We can do this.
bit of an interesting strategy going on. We're probably about 5 laps short on gas. You can't really save that, but it either means I'm going to start a wreck at some point, which I probably will, or very, very late race pit stop. Let's see who to work with. Maybe Jeff Gordon.
Inside's clear.
Not Jeff Gordon.
Right's clear.
Well, I kind of don't have any more options at this point. I have no idea why he brake checked in the center of 1. But here we go. We're dead last. Last to first challenge at this point. First challenge is to pass Gordon somehow. Dang it, we got a good line going actually on the inside. Mark Martin got hung out, so maybe I did pick the correct lane.
Stay down.
Yeah, Gordon's quick.
Car at your door. Up top at your door.
Then again, what should I expect out of a Hendrick Chevrolet?
Man, you're
All right,
making
going
it
up to work
easy
with
for me here.
Montoya. We're on the verge of losing the draft, so got to be very, very careful right here. 200 miles an hour and still almost losing it. All right, here we go. Get up to Nemechek. Yeah. 1. You were not clear.
Car in front heading to the pit.
I guess he's pitting. I don't know what's going on, but it's checked up the inside line, which is good because that means I'm back into the pack. Nobody, I guess, is pitting. Or if they were, they chickened out. But now we have to fight our way forward without overheating and melting this engine. Because remember, the entire grill is taped. It's 100% tape.
Stay low.
So this thing is built for leading, not for drafting. As I almost got clipped right back there by I don't even know who. Probably Travis Quapple.
Okay, let's go. We gotta step it up.
We're going quick. Pretty consistently 200 miles an hour down the back stretch. There we go. I got risky right there as the line checked up.
Car outside.
Paul Menard's the leader in the Daytona 500.
Car up top.
Inside lines dying.
At your door up top.
I don't know how.
That's good. Stay
Dennis,
right there for more
that was
speed.
not an opening.
Nicely done, man.
Inside lines still checking more than I would like for them to be, but they are rolling. Middle line's now checking up down the straightaway, so I picked correctly.
Nice work, man.
And that
Nice pass.
inside line's dying on corner entry now. But look at that, it's prevailing. Oh, jeez.
Buddy, great control.
So it's hard not to get nervous in those moments because you think somebody's going to try and cut down where they don't belong.
There's your next victim right there.
There we go. I just shoved Edwards up into the outside just so I wouldn't have to deal with him. Car's loose.
Watch your outside.
Car's loose.
Stay low.
So, oh, man.
Car at your door. Up top at your door.
We haven't wrecked yet
That's it, dude.
in this run.
There's more points.
That was 4 wide.
3 wide.
That's Travis Pastrana.
Hold your position. Car underneath.
Okay,
Okay, honey down.
I want out.
Driver in first.
I want out of that situation completely.
Going to caution. Going to caution.
All right, I've got a strategy. A new strategy opportunity has opened because of this. I wrecked a lot more cars than I had intended right there. But I can come down pit road now, fill up with gas, and I should be good to make it to the end. So while that was unintentional, the massive death of the field right there, I think it might just work out in my own favor. We're going to take right sides. Well, then again, it takes so long to fill the thing up. But we'd only need a splash because we only did 3 laps. But you know what? We're going to pump up these pressures. And we're going to go for it.
Okay, boys. Safe and smart. Here we go.
This should be pretty much the final pit stop of the 500 for us, so let's make it a good one. I'm assuming a lot of people are going to take right sides, so that's going to kind of make this stop ineffective. We're probably going to restart at the back, but a lot of cars are going to have to come down pit road again, which we're not going to have to, so we have a very distinct advantage in the fact that we're going to be able to make it about 20 laps on gas. Everybody else who's, up front and didn't pit is probably going to make it only about 10, if I had to take a guess, because they took the opportunity to get track position and not fill up completely on gas. So I'm going to restart 41st, but the good part about that is I got one behind me, so it's not by myself. So I got a car to rely on to get that momentum going forward. And it was the top 19 cars that stayed out. Ryan Newman is your leader.
Right there. Just like we practiced.
Yeah, we're right on the money. Lap 20 and 40, we're going to take the green, and we're going to be pretty much perfectly in the fuel window. Might have to save half a lap, but it won't be much.
Car in front's heading to the pit.
You already hear that. Car in front's headed to the pit.
For us today. Gotta go get it. Car outside. At your
All right, so we're going to try this run not to destroy the field. And as I say that,
car up top.
I punt Stremme nearly to the moon.
Car high. Clear up top.
Okay, Montoya wants to push. I don't know if I'm going to give him that opportunity
Behind you.
because Jeff Burton is going to allow me to roll up to this pack. There's Marcos.
Nice traffic. Looking really good, buddy.
Getting to work with Marcos yet again. And moved him up out of the way.
Clear up high.
That is an extremely easy thing to do in this game, by the way. We could start a massive pileup if we wanted by pushing somebody the wrong direction and they get the weeble wobble center of the corner. All right, here we go. Big run. Got to make sure I don't lose the draft.
Stay down. Clear right side.
Keep that momentum going forward.
Car inside at your door.
Slingshot our way around. All these cars on the inside are just flat out losing momentum. Hard to believe Michael McDowell was the correct option right there for a car to go with momentum.
Driver in first, 2 seconds ahead.
I don't know how that worked, but I split 200 cars, destroyed Casey Kane,
Doing an awesome job today, buddy.
and we're still going forward.
3 wide, you're in the middle. Car inside,
There's Paul Menard. He was the leader previously in this race.
1 inside. At your door on the bottom.
He accepted that push very, very well.
You're good there.
I'm impressed with that. Through the middle,
Clear left side.
gonna hook directly up with David Gilliland
Car outside you.
and try to rocket right forward.
Take it easy for us today, buddy.
Steady on the joystick to not wreck him.
High side.
And there we go. That's a full tandem. Now we're gonna, well, engine's overheating, so gotta pop out for a moment.
Right side's clear. Got car behind. All clear.
Whoa, Mark Martin.
Doing it too hard. Take it easy. Clear up high.
I'm gonna take the blame on that one. I was a bit blind on the move down low. I'm pretty much gonna have to push somebody up to this group. But then again, Casey Mears got the same idea. He's pushing me.
He'll nudge you. Car in line with you.
So apparently car in front's pitting. There's a lap car that's just destroyed the outside line's momentum.
Doing it right there.
Who was that,
That's
Pastrana?
nice and smooth.
Somebody who I'm a fan of.
The leader's a second ahead. Come on, man. Keep that momentum. Keep that momentum.
Not clear.
Car at your door.
Not
Stop
clear.
at your door.
That was Pastrana.
3
What a
wide,
job
2 outside.
by Travis to screw over the entire field right there.
Keep it low.
That was
Keep it low.
perfect.
Go to the low side. That's it. Close that gap. Stay
All
on
right,
it.
so
Stay
once
on it.
again, I've got really, really good track position. I thought somebody was going to try and hook me and destroy my race right there. But I'm up to 5th place. I'm good to go on gas. Travis Quapple is in the lead draft. In fact, going for the lead. Newman's the leader. Things are going well. There we go. Look at that.
3 wide, 2 outside. NASCAR's gonna black flag us if you don't get that spot back.
I yielded position.
Go wide. We're just as fast as him. Let's chase him back.
I yielded position.
There. You guys are gonna work together. You can't slam him. Run the
We're
caution
good.
here.
We're good. I yielded the position. We're fine. Mark Martin may or may not be dead, but we're okay. He's dead. We're all right, though. I'm not going to pit. Well, then again, I could. I could pit. It wouldn't hurt anything. Yeah. Screw it. We're pitting. Because I can just climb my way back through the field.
Okay, do a splash of fuel.
You know, we're going to take all 4 tires because I want to go up on air pressure. And we're going to win this thing. This is our final stop. We're going to have the most pumped up tires you can get
Let's hustle here.
on all 4 sides. We're going to have the pace, the car, and a man mad enough to do it. Got a lot of cars to pass, but it's Daytona. That's no problem. A little bit of speed energy, you'll be fine. All right, our Dodge pit crew on the Ford program gave us a actually pretty good stop. Outside pole sitter Tony Stewart is your race leader, and I'm going to restart in 28th position. Not half bad. Travis got the lucky dog. He's back on the lead lap.
Nice pit stop. Okay, it's time to push that
He
pace
played a
up,
good
buddy.
strategy right there, trying to screw over the field right there on the previous lap. Well, not on the previous lap, but on the previous run. But you get my point. Point being, we're going back green, closing laps of the Daytona 500. I'm behind Danica. We got to make it happen.
Car high. Got one working the top.
All right, we're well within the drafting pack, so no concern about losing the lead draft, which is perfect because that's typically what I have the
Driver in first.
hardest time with. I think Kenseth clocked the wall coming off 2 I don't know what's happening. We're going 4 wide.
Good job. Really good. Come on.
All right.
3
I'm up to
wide,
14th.
2
Don't know
outside.
how it happened. Somebody, I guess, didn't get through the gears or something. Okay. Gonna work with the Phoenix Racing 51. We got cars pitting.
Nice pass. Clear left.
Tandems going on up to the outside of Keselowski. 200 miles an hour down to turn 1. Yee.
Get loose every time you slam it, buddy. Take it easy.
That worked way better than it should have.
It's all clear, bud.
I should have lifted, but yeah.
Very impressive. Low side.
Oh man,
Car down low.
it's really nerve-wracking picking up a car like that because you think you're just going to wreck him outright.
Go down low.
Okay,
Keep high.
all right, I gotta get out of this hornet's nest right here
On the bottom.
and get myself to the front because I am easily good to go on gas. Just get me to the lead.
Car in front heading to the pit.
Car in front's head to the pit.
Stay down.
The lanes are opening up. I got a gigantic run out of nowhere. Here we go. 3 wide for the lead in the 500.
Okay, let's go find you next.
And we are set.
Clear right.
Now just hold on, and hopefully we can do it, because all I need at this point is no yellows. I think McMurray, yeah, he's pitting. There's Gordon. We both made our way back to the front.
The draft.
Jeff Gordon, that is.
Closing on the
I'm obviously the other one. Austin Dillon in what would be, his, 4th Cup start, somewhere around that number. Trying to go for the lead in the 500. Because I know he ran the race at Kansas in 2011 and a couple starts in the 33 in 2012. I just can't recall the exact
car 2 back.
start count up to that point. But it's early in his Cup career, to put it simply. But for him to be running this far up front, that's an impressive statement. But then again, here comes a front row motorsports car of David Reagan, the Talladega Spring Race winner of that season. Always good on plate tracks, like I mentioned. Finished, 8th in this year's 500? This year being 2022. Did a great job for Rick Ware, although he did wreck after the checkered flag, but still, it was a great run. Dave Blaney now sets 3rd. Your top 3 in the 2013 Daytona 500, Robby Gordon, David Reagan, Dave Blaney. You can't make this stuff up. And David Gilliland is the fastest car in Daytona Beach, Florida. Bobby Labonte's way off pace. And that just killed the inside line's momentum. Here comes Greg Biffle up to the outside, getting a push from Casey Kane. We actually have some competitive cars back into the fray for the race lead.
On your
You know, back when Roush was semi-good,
With you.
and a Hendrick car, obviously.
Car right behind you.
This is a weird era for Roush. You know, the 2013, 2014 seasons, because really, with the exception of Greg Biffle's win at Michigan, Carl Edwards carried that whole team for that period of time. If you don't recall, Stenhouse actually DNQ'd for the fall Talladega race in 2014. That's how bad Roush got. If it wasn't for charters, I swear to God that team would have closed. And I know I myself am a Roush fan, but I am confident that they would have closed. What happened to the pack? It's gone. It just, we're doing the next gen thing. It's just the pack has decided to cease to exist. I got a 1 second advantage above Greg Biffle. Question nothing. The gap keeps growing. I don't know. I really don't. They're not very organized, but still better than one car by itself.
Eyeside's clear.
All right, so I know I discussed this in the dual race video, but by the way, there's Austin Dillon, so he pitted. But the 2013 Daytona 500 is not very many fans' favorites. You know, you'd have to be a pretty serious Jimmy Johnson fan to call that race a good one. But imagine if this was the 2013 Daytona 500. Some doofus and a brand new race team, sort of, that has trudged in the mud for the last 7 or so years in Cup Series competition, partners with Penske for Ford after switching from the death of Dodge, and now leads the Daytona 500 by 1 second in the closing laps. Look at Gilliland. He's good work. He absolutely destroyed the pack right there. Most valuable driver right there. David Gilliland, fastest man in Daytona Beach, Florida, but at the same time the most precise at blocking. That was perfect.
6 to go.
My crew chief just asked me if I'm having fun out here, and the simple answer is yesn't, because I'm leading the 500, but wow, I'm doing nothing. I mean, I am running Daytona 500 qualifying laps. This must have been how it felt to race at Daytona in the early 60s, when the cars weren't quite fast enough to be too scary when it came to, how they handled. It wasn't like the early 70s when they were already cresting 200. But the early 60s, you could still win the 500 by like 5 laps. So this is how Richard Petty probably felt in the early 60s, is this right here is Daytona. It's just a by yourself on the freeway style experience. Quite soothing, I have to admit, is we got a 2-second advantage now over Greg Biffle. Imagine how frustrated you'd be, by the way, if you were Biffle. If you just saw a car pinned on the yellow line leaving you in the 500. There'd be no more sickening feeling. Well, a pack is starting to form, or at least attempt to do so, but I fear that the advantage of 2.5 seconds is too major for them to make up, because I'm still doing pretty good on lap time. Because you can tell I'm making like 46.4s, somewhere around there. Pretty much maintained around 192 miles an hour, so I'm not really having any issues when it comes to pace. I'm not bouncing off the apron, or worse yet, bouncing off the wall. So they're going to start gaining on me because they got a organized pack going, but the momentum is not being channeled forward as well as it should be, or at least not as well as it would be if you were tandemed for a couple laps like I showed earlier in this race. You could really get a tandem going. If the engine didn't start to melt from the inside out, you could get a really good tandem in these cars for some reason. That's not how the Gen 6 car worked, trust me. You'd end up killing the whole field if you tried to pull off a tandem. They were so squirrely. And by the way, you can see that in the 2013 test session at Daytona. But in this game, you can get a very, very quick tandem going at excess of 200 miles an hour for about 3 laps before you start to melt the engine. So it's worth it if you're starting to lose the draft. You pull that move off, you're set. And as you can tell, the pack has cut off about 0.3 of a second of my advantage. So they are catching. But if I hold a steady line, I wonder if they will be able to catch me. Because I kind of want to rub it in the pack's face. You cannot catch the power of Robby Gordon Motorsports and Penske engines. Or in this case, I guess it would just be Roush Yates engines. There was Jeff Gordon that I just put a lap down. See, I'm still stuck in the era when Penske Jasper engines were a thing, so excuse me. Yeah, the pack is starting to lose time again. 2.8 seconds now, the separation. I have no idea what's going on in that pack that's making everyone incapable of actually getting the momentum forward, but you got 15 or so cars altogether that cannot catch one speedy orange Ford. I don't get it. It's out to 3 seconds, now coming to the white flag. 2.5 miles of a qualifying lap. Here we go. White flag's out in the 500. There's dummies coming off pit road. Could not have picked a worse time to come to the pits. Who is that? Jeff Burton. Epic strategy. Who was his crew chief then? Todd Barrier? I think. Some really premium strategy right there, as I'm still gapping the field. 3.3 seconds down the back straightaway. I want to hear Mike Joy's call of this finish. It would be completely exasperated of any joy or hope, because off 4, I'm running by myself. Here, Daytona 500 champion Robby Gordon.
Yes. Way to go, buddy. Great job. Awesome, buddy. That was unbelievable. You're just the man. I'm telling you, you're the man.
Yeah. This is how difficult this game gets.
They're loving you for that
I just hit the wall and knocked the rear bumper cover off. The crowd's going nuts. Well, I'm sure if you gap the field by almost 4 seconds, they'd want to see a record at some point. We have done it. This is the hardest this game gets on champion difficulty, and I've won by 3.5 seconds in the Daytona 500. There we go. I screwed it up, but you get to see Robby Gordon doing the thing. Mission succeed.
Number one. That was a great drive and an awesome performance.
I agree. That was one of the stupidest races I think I've maybe ever run. I did set a lap of 44.97, but that was not as good as whatever the lap time was out of David Gilliland, a 44.95. Very close on lap time, but he must have really been at the tail end of the draft and sucked right up to him, because that is a really good lap out of Gilliland. Dave Blaney got third. He was pretty much the story of the 2012 running, so at least it'd be cool to see him get that strong finish. And didn't McDowell get ninth in the real 2013 500? It was somewhere really, really close to that. That's kind of history repeating itself right there, because Phil Parsons Racing, they had a really good program with McDowell coming to Daytona, but McDowell's always been a good super speedway racer. If you look at when he raced into the 500 in 2010. That was also for Phil Parsons, but in a partnership with Michael Waltrip. That was a storybook run. So was the 2013 race, and especially when he finally claimed that 500 victory. But his story of progressing through Daytona Speed Weeks is one that is really, really special. And I know a lot of people were happy about his 500 win, because that was tremendous. But if you watched him build up from that, from his early ARCA days, his Texas crash, and then all his Speed Week chronicles, it was a really, really cool story. And at this point, Michael has become a consistent top 15 Cup Series driver with a legitimate shot at making the playoffs again this season. Anyway, enough about him. We have 2 Michael Waltrip racing cars in the top 10. That will become very pivotal as we get towards the chase for the Sprint Cup, when I get to talk about Spingate non-stop. Greg Biffle once again suffers the big sad of a second-place finish in the 500. He finished second to McMurray in 2010. Dale Jr., your pole sitter, finished in 12th position. Unlike typical Hendrick Motorsports logic of throw everything to qualifying and don't have a lick of anything left for the race, it did kind of pay off a little bit. They weren't, competitive for the win, but 12th place is at least not wrecked. Scott Speed outplaced Mark Martin and got a top 15, same with Josh Wise and Danica. Marcos got 20th place, but he still was on the lead lap. From there, some familiar people we raced with, like Jeff Gordon, he finished a lap down in 30th because of very dumb pit strategy. Jimmy Johnson, the real winner of this race, 37th. Montoya, Logano, Keselowski all the way down here. Kurt Busch, Casey Kane, and Kyle Busch, dead last, 15 laps down. I guess he must have been killed in one of the stupid accidents I caused, and Travis Pastrana got last of the cars still running. Very, very fitting. All right, so real quick, I can tell you exactly where Kyle Busch's race ended. It would have been right about here. And if we take a look back, you can see Mark Martin standing directly in the middle of the air, and Kyle Busch absolutely plowing the tail end of David Reagan. That is where the Candyman's race ended. Interestingly enough, Mark Martin would go on to finish like 18th position, somewhere up in the top 20, and David Reagan would challenge for the lead. Somehow, this car, all the way up in the air, flipping, coming down to the apron, was much better off than the 18 car of Kyle Busch. By the way, Travis Pastrana, right in the center of this. Is anyone surprised? This right here is a just magical screenshot. You got Robby Gordon in the foreground, Travis Pastrana in the background, middle of a wreck in the natural habitat. It's perfect. And by the way, with this image as our background image, I want to mention this is a different headset than what I was using before. It looks exactly the same. It's the same exact model. It is a little bit newer than my previous headset that I've been using. I used it for about 3 years. The cover on the microphone started to essentially deteriorate, so I had to switch to this one. But I should mention that this headset squeezes your head much, much tighter, to the point where I can hear my own heartbeat, and it's very disturbing. This is also a magnificent image. We got a 5-wide move going on, 2 cars setting perpendicular perfectly to the racing line. Majestic. Also, you recall my NASCAR Heat 5 playthrough a while back. I was incapable of winning the 500 in Season 1 of that playthrough, so it's very cool to get it at least first time out, but there wasn't that much contest, even for champion difficulty. Wasn't that difficult. And so there's the point standings. Obviously, we set atop of it because of the 500 win. 48 points to start the year. Biffle second. Menard ties Dave Blaney with 41 points. Third and fourth. Matt Kenseth fifth. He won, 7 races in the year 2013. He had a great season in his first year at Gibbs. Couldn't quite top Jimmy Johnson in the race for the chase, though. And so Travis Pastrana sets dead last in points. I'd say that's a fitting end to episode 1, technically, and round 1 of the Robby Gordon NASCAR The Game 2013 season. I have to say it's been fun already, but you can tell through this Daytona run that it's been a little bit tame when it comes to glitches. Believe me, we're going to start to see everything unravel once we get into races like, say, Phoenix coming up next, which I'm already dreading. You have to figure out a bunch of setup crap for that one. Once again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Don't worry about the fact that, Season 4 stuff hasn't come out yet. That is still in the works. Obviously, Twitter is where you can see the paint schemes I've been posting lately. Discord server is probably the best place to reach me if you're curious about how things have been going, but progress has been going very well. This is just a very fun distraction from all of that, and a better way to spend your time than NASCAR 21 Ignition, I can tell you that for sure.